That's the way I interpreted it. So,
Yeah, it says.
I think we've got history here that, you go back to the beginning, the supervisors instigated a levy to pay for it.
yeah.
And then in 35, the supervisors built an addition. I think, just by, I'm trying to remember my real estate terms, just by ownership,
Yeah.
we maintained it, we've levied to add on. So
We've been the sole providers
I
for that building, that's for sure.
I'm comfortable with the fact, I think it's our building.
Okay.
And in this last paragraph of this second page, it does say use, and it shall have exclusive use of said building as long as they have any need thereof. Therefore, so.
Well, now, there's nobody left in that group. I mean, they've all passed on, and that, the only thing that's left now is this lease from, between the Women's Relief Corps of Sac City and the Senior Citizens Club of Sac City. This was signed in May of 1978, and it's a 10-year lease. And I don't know of any renewal of this thing at all, but the seniors are still using it.
Well, it would.
And they're paying the utility bill.
I guess it would be defined by what the termination. Like in a lot of leases, they just automatically renew unless there's a termination date.
This says, and termination on the 31st of May of 1988, 12 o'clock p.m. or sooner is provided herein at the annual rental of $100 payable in advance. So, at any rate, the only use that that building is seeing right now is for the congregate meal site. So, Chuck and I went over there and looked at it and did some measuring. We found that there's 10 windows in that building. The ones on the east and the south and one on the north, they're approximately a little over 8 feet tall. The ceilings in the main room are 12-foot ceilings. So there's a couple of things that group, that Horizons group suggested when Dean and I went to that meeting. They want to move that bathroom out of the kitchen and then create some more pantry or storage space in that area. The only problem with that is, to move it out of the kitchen area, you have to move it into the main room of that building. And there's no basement, no crawl space under that main room. So there's really no way to get plumbing under that floor and avoid any steps or any handicap obstacles. My suggestion was, and it was only a suggestion, I haven't talked to any engineers or architects or anybody else, but if we could take that, there's 2 stairways that go down the basement. If we could take that westerly stairway and put a floor in there and move that bathroom over into that area and turn it so that you could knock a door so that the entrance would be from that main building, but the actual facility would still be in the easterly part. You could wall that off so that there would be no access to the bathroom from the kitchen. That would be my only suggestion. And then you could still go downstairs through that easterly stairway, which is wider and a little more accessible. And then knock a hole in that basement wall if that was to access that other part of the basement. That was one of the priorities that they listed in that Horizons group meeting. The windows, and Rick and I talked about this a little bit, just kind of on our own. But I see that the windows, the ceiling, you can sheetrock those walls and brighten it up in there and kind of clean that part of it up. And either drop that ceiling or go up in the attic and blow some more insulation in there. I'm not sure what's in there for insulation at this point, but they do have it.
When you said those were 8 foot, is that creating a problem for suspended?
Well,
I mean,
it does.
for sure. Well, with having an 8 foot window, the window is got to reach
Those
up into the
windows,
suspended ceiling.
those 8 foot windows go above the 8 foot mark in the room. They're, you know, they start probably 2 feet or 30 inches from the floor, and they're 8 feet windows, so you're 2 feet above that 8 foot mark. But we did that on this building, you know, say.
I think, and you got to consider the cosmetic and integrity of the building. I think if you start, you have an option of shortening the windows, but then we want it to match.
Yeah.
I mean,
when I thought about that, if a guy would take and just build a 4 foot square or whatever it takes piece of glass in that top part, and then create your window down below, I think you could cut the cost of a special built 8 foot window is going to be expensive. But I think if you buy a 6 foot window or whatever that's fairly standard, or 5 foot, and then just put a solid piece of glass up on top, leave the ceilings as they are, and blow some insulation up in that existing. You know, we ran into that here when we dropped the ceilings in the magistrate. If you go upstairs and look, the moisture doesn't get away, and so that deteriorates those plaster walls and the paint on that ceiling. And I just think that, you know, there's probably a better way to do it.
what's the
I
chances
think
of?
that's a good idea. Leave the windows the size they are, because it's going to look, I mean, there's no sense maintaining that building if we destroy the architectural design of the building. But yeah, we can get go with fixed painting like I put in my house, the top,
Yeah.
and then have a 2 or 3 foot working window below.
Yeah.
It'll still look like a double hung.
Yep. That's kind of what I was trying to envision or trying to describe.
What's the chances of being able to match? I mean, if you decided to just buy your 5 foot window and.
Well, what I was thinking was, you know, it's a brick structure, and there's a lot of wood trim, and that's a lot of white paint on that thing. I think if the guy went with a white vinyl replacement window, I don't think he would jeopardize much that way.
Well, my question was about shortening and
the only
filling.
The only difference there would just be a bar across there that would separate this part of the window from this part of the window.
Yeah.
No, underneath to get a 5 or 6 foot window and then put your brick back to support a normal size window.
Well, I guess.
I mean, I don't know if you can do it, and we don't want to mess up the integrity.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't thinking about reducing the size of the rough opening at all. I was just going to, you know, use two different pieces of window to fill that same hole.
That doesn't help you any though with your ability to lower
Drop the ceiling.
Yeah.
No, it does not.
I don't know. You start dropping that ceiling, and it's going to look kind of. I think if anything, redo the ceiling and
First,
redo the ceiling at that height. You know, put it and then put some good insulation in it.
Yeah, I'd like to see what's up there for insulation
I think
first.
that'd be.
And like we were talking the other day, we could do this in 2 or 3 year stage. You know, just let the senior center prioritize these projects, and then we could do it as they, later on.
If they get some grant money, we could do the windows the first stage,
Yeah.
and then second, moving the bathroom and the ceiling, that could be a joint effort with their grant money.